Hi there everybody, I have something very special for you guys. It's not very much a surprise anymore because it's literally right here. Sadly, this is not my RX7, it's from a client from someone I know. I don't know much about the car yet, but I'll ask the guy in a minute every specification about this car. Just look at this. This is something you absolutely want, right? The owner of this car is spending an insane amount of money on this car. As for a full body kit and all carbon parts, look at the hood of this car. That's full carbon, which will probably be an issue in the inspection here in Belgium, but we'll see. I am still considering if I would do only one video about this or like a full series, because there is approximately about 3.5 weeks work on this car. There is probably a lot to come. So the kit on this RX7 is a Fiat GT3 kit, and it actually looks pretty cool to me. I've never seen anything like this before, so I think it's pretty unique and it's pretty expensive as well, I suppose. So this is the car of a client from Widow, who is the owner of V-Cars, who is specialized in RX7s. So if you have an RX7 yourself and you have some issues with it, this is the guy you have to contact. He doesn't really have a website, but you can find him on Instagram, so I'll link his Instagram in the description so you can check it out yourself. I am already very excited for the outcome of this car. So we have all the parts over there. We have already the parts on the car that are a crazy amount of money, and then we still have so much more to go. Everything else you see here is for this car, so I can tell you that there will be a lot of upgrades, a lot of changes, and a lot of different things which will not be stock. This is not your average stock porting. This is one of the craziest portings you can have. These two holes are for extra air, and this is not something you can buy stock. The more air you get into this rotary engine, the more horsepower you can get out of this engine. So this is very critical in this build. Yeah. So here we were getting the gearbox out to implement the upgrades afterwards. This was not the easiest job you could have, let me tell you that. Because as you can see, this car bridge doesn't go all that high, so we have to get with two persons underneath the car. The weight of this thing is 60 kilos, so you have to get that in the air. Manage to get it from underneath the car, but it's not because something is difficult you have to give up. So after a little bit of struggle, we managed to get the thing out.
Hier is eigenlijk je steerslinder, aan deze kant.
Ja.
Als je op de koppeling duwt, wordt die eigenlijk uitgeduwd tegen die vork. En dan trekt je eigenlijk die cilinder achteruit, zodat je je drukplaat loszet van je koppeling en zo ook eigenlijk kunt schakelen. Dat gaat eigenlijk naar je mastercilinder aan je pedaal van je koppeling zelf.
Let me interrupt you here and explain to you why this well-called Dorito engine is such a special thing. The rotary engine consists of a triangular rotor that rotates with an oval-shaped housing. This rotor has 3 faces, each creating a combustion chamber as it moves. As the motor turns, it creates varying volumes in the combustion chamber. This allows for the intake, compression, combustion, and exhaust processes to occur in a continuous cycle. As the rotor moves, it uncovers the intake port, allowing a mixture of air and fuel to get into this chamber. At the end of a compression stroke, a spark plug ignites the mixture, causing an explosion that pushes this rotary engine much more into rotation. As the rotor continues to turn, it uncovers the exhaust port, allowing the spent gases to escape. The rotary engine is a much more lightweight and compact engine than the normal Otto cycle engine that we've known of, because this engine does not exist of a camshaft, a crankshaft, pistons, valves, lifters, time belts, so all those parts are already off the list. The RX7 is known for its throttle response, for its high revving nature, but that's something we can find back in almost all the GDM cars. However, they can be less fuel efficient and less durable than the normal Otto cycle engine we know, because the rotary is well known for actually breaking down from a certain point of mileage. So in that aspect, it is maybe better to go to an Otto cycle engine. But if you don't have any issues with working on your cars, working on your engine, like Widow does, and your dream car might be an RX7, doesn't let that hold you down from buying that car. Overall, this rotary engine is a unique design. It's a special something. You have to be a fan of it. But as I already have an S2K, which is a GDM car, I'm a very big fan of this RX7. Now let's get back where I left off.
Ja, hierop. Dat is ook maar vol, dat hij plat.
So to get more access to the engine, we had to take the hood off, and now we can get the engine out of the engine bay with this engine hoist.
Die twee gaan naar de starters. Dat is gewoon een massa voor aan de motors. Dat zijn voor de sensoren op de motors. Dat gaat naar de alternators. Dat is gewoon 12 volt alternator en dat is uw visop alternator. En dan deze gaat naar die twee, dus naar uw hoofdzekeringen en zo. En hier zit nog een relais met zekeringen in. En dan ga je eigenlijk naar die grote bak, waar eigenlijk al je zekeringen zitten van de auto, en de lekkers en zo. En vandaar ga je naar hier, naar die zekeringendoos. Zo. En dan gaan we van hier naar nog 4 LS en dan gaan we terug naar het interieur.
The fuel lines are still slightly connected because otherwise they're gonna leak. Coolant fluid is disconnected, airco is disconnected. The engine harness is loose, so the tube from the oil coolers is already disconnected. You can decide to do it actually on 2 ways. You can decide to disconnect it here or disconnect it on this way, but it's actually better to do it the way it's shown here because then you can get the engine out with the tube still on the engine. So instead of using a chain to get this engine out of the engine bay, we will be using belts, but these belts can lift 500 kilos each, so it's not a regular seat belt, it's an industrial belt. Just for you guys at home, don't lift up your engine with a seat belt. So the RX7 has 2 turbos, one over here and one in the back, so that means we need to have 2 wastegates as well. These 2 solenoids here in the back control actually the wastegates.
This is mounted on your exhaust manifold. If your turbo builds pressure until a certain point, you say closed. But when the pressure gets too high, higher than the design pressure, the wastegate will open and will send the extra pressure to the exhaust manifold. It will hold the pressure that's requested.
So that's actually a short explanation of the working of the wastegate. So we know the guy from V-Cars has an RX7 himself, a yellow one, and a Mitsubishi Evo 5. So we are now on our way to check on those cars, so I'm very happy to see what's there. I'll give you some details of the yellow RX7 you saw in the last clips. This RX7, its original color is red, I thought, but it's repainted in sunburst yellow. Has a K-Sport coilover kit, seat carbon side skirts, an RE Anywayyy carbon street diffuser, a Reinhardt Titan exhaust 3, and I'll list everything else just down here so you can follow it up because it's so much. The things he has done on his car is actually insane. The amount of money and work that went into that car, that's really something I respect. As for the Mitsubishi, I'll do the same. All the things that have been changed on this car, I'll put here down below. Unfortunately, the engine blew up, so the car doesn't run anymore for now. It was even in the newspaper. Well, it's very sad to see that this car is standing there with this engine that is not complete. But Guido said to me that he really wanted to get this car back together, but we'll see for what time that is. I also want to show you the different ways you can tune your RX7. Like, you have these different body kits, different styles, which makes not every car the same, and that's something you can really see in this GDM car scene. You can see 7 RX7s and they'll know which one is yours. As for German cars, you can do the same. You can also tune and make it a race spec or another spec. But for these GDM cars, I think it has still a different vibe to it. For now, I really want to thank you for watching my videos. This was a little bit more of like an introduction video of the RX7, but I really thought it was a nice opportunity to film and to show you guys a little bit more about the RX7 and learn a little bit more about these engines and these cars. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you on my next video. Ciao.